Welcome, everybody, to the Competition Archery Media Podcast, where we explore all things pertaining to competition archery. I'm your host, PJ Riley, and the CAM Podcast is brought to you by B3 Archery. And with us today, fresh off a killer experience in her first ever shoot down back at Fort Benning, Lauren Carver. How you doing, Lauren?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Just fine. We should say Elite Pro. Darren Christianberry would kill me if I didn't get that in there. Elite Pro, Lauren Carver. So, Lauren, tell us, I'm dying to know, what is that like? You women's pro, that's what you shoot, the unknown distance in the ASA. You finished second place there at Fort Benning. That was your first ever shoot down. What is that like?
Honestly, it was everything I hoped it would be. You know, like Mike Farrell said that I was petrified. I don't know where he got that from. That's not what I said. I said I was so excited to be there. Yeah, he kind of made that up. I don't know where he got that.
Gotcha.
But it was great. First I was leading the first day going in, and then Sharon had a great round the second day, so I went in 2 points behind. The weekend just went great. Everything kind of just came together, and it just was a good weekend.
I do remember Mike Tyrrell saying you're petrified, and I remember thinking as we're watching, I'm like, she doesn't look petrified.
I know, and I didn't say that. I don't know. Mike's known me since I was like a kid shooting the kids' classes, so yeah, I'm sure he just wanted to say that.
So I went and I looked back. So this is your rookie year in women's pro.
Yep.
But last year, holy cow, you had quite the year. And you coming from Women's Open 45.
Yep.
I went back and I looked and I was like, oh, okay. Started with you won Shooter of the Year in that division. And I looked, I saw, second place in Coleman. Then I was like, first. First.
Foley was my first unknown shoot that I had done since I came back from a break in archery.
Really?
Yes. So I started shooting again 4 years ago. I started in the women's hunter class.
Okay.
And won out of that and moved to known 40. And I knew that I wanted to eventually hit the unknown classes. So for women, the only option to go unknown is the open 45 class.
Right.
So, my first shoot in Foley was pretty rough. It was just trying to get everything together. But after that, I won every shoot except Coleman. I got second in Coleman. So
and Foley, you got second.
Yeah, Foley, I got second.
It must have been going pretty well.
Yeah, it was rough, but the scores were great. I think I ended up winning Shooter of the Year by over 100 points.
Man, well, how old are you?
I'm 22.
22. Okay. And what do you do?
I work at Chick-fil-A.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I just work in the food industry.
So shooting then, do you work how many hours a week do you work?
I work 35 hours a week, 40.
Okay. And then are you spending the rest of your time shooting or how
so
much?
I work in the mornings. So I get off between 2 and 4, and then most of my evenings are just spent shooting until it gets dark or too windy to shoot.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, the unknown game, why, we hear so many folks now that known is where it's at. You're a rookie and young coming into the unknown class there and killing it. Why would you pick that class?
Honestly, I've known both sides of the game. My mom used to shoot pro. So when I grew up, I always judged with her. And a bunch of the girls in the pro class, I've grown up with them, and they've taught me how to judge and all this fun stuff. But I just think it's a funner game than known.
I agree.
Known, you just have not that it's not easy by any means, but it's a totally different strategy.
Yeah.
It's a completely different game. You can get really lucky in the unknown class. Known, it's just who can shoot their bow best that day,
Yeah. How long have you been shooting a bow altogether?
I'm pretty sure I picked up a bow when I was 4 years old.
Okay.
So mom and dad always shot when I was younger. Mom shot in high school, so she was always around bows, and dad just grew up hunting. So we always it was always in the family. But so I shot all the junior classes in ASA. I shot the youth classes. And then when I hit high school, I took a break.
Okay.
I played softball and volleyball in school and travel. So it was too much to try to juggle that and archery.
Yeah.
And Mom had always told me that, archery is going to be there whenever you get out of high school. High school sports are only there when you're in high school. So
right. Good advice, Mom.
Yeah. So I took the break during high school. And then once I graduated, I attended Foley that year, but I wasn't shooting. I just went because, it's at the beach and it's just a good tournament to go to, just to socialize. And I remember telling Mom on the way home, I was like, I want to set a bow up. Like, I'm ready. Like, I want to get back into it. So I ended up coming home. So we set up a bow and I went into the women's hunter class and I won Benning the next tournament.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How about that? And now hunter class in ASA, that is a known distance.
Yeah, it's
correct?
known and it's a 30-yard max.
Okay, gotcha. And then, so then you went to Open 45, as you mentioned, women's Open 45. Had a killer year there.
Yeah, it was great.
Could you have stayed there or did you have to move?
No, I had to move out. Once I won, I think my move out tournament was Louisiana last year. I ended up winning Louisiana. And by that time I had to move out. You can finish the year in the class because it's a shooter of the year class, but I had to move out the next year.
Gotcha. So then, so you're from North Carolina. So you're out there, you're in your first shoot down. There's Christine Harrelson. I'm sure you're familiar with her. Yeah. The Alstroms, also from North Carolina. I'm sure you know all of them. Yeah. What's that like going out onto the field? You had Christine Harrelson, Cara Kelly, Sharon Wallace, Aaron McGladrey. I mean, four of the best.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I mean, it was just a surreal moment, kind of. Because, I mean, I had grown up since I was a kid watching all of them.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, like, being out there with them, it was just it was pretty cool. It felt really cool.
How did you do at Foley this year?
Oh, it was rough.
Okay.
It was, my time management wasn't the best. I just came back from a cruise. So the week before, I didn't really have that much time to prepare. And Foley was just miserable anyway because it was so cold.
It was cold, yeah.
Yeah, it was just a rough tournament. So as soon as I came home from Foley, I was talking to Mom. I was like, we can't have another tournament like that. Like, I gotta put in some work and get ready for the next one. So. Okay.
So then, going into Benning, then did you shoot at Benning like how you expect to shoot, or was it a surprise to you?
So from Foley to Benning, I made some equipment changes. I swapped around bows and did some stuff like that, and shooting the local tournaments at the house. My scores got back to where I was used to being. And
gotcha.
So I didn't have I had some expectations. Everybody hopes to go and do really well at these tournaments. And I try not to go into things with expectations because that's, when you usually fall short. I just try to play my best game that I can every day. And what happens, happens. And it just turned out that it was a good weekend for both days.
Yeah. So after the first day, I imagine you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah. So first day, it was pretty cool. I was on the leaderboard by 12, I believe. We were all stacked in there super close. Yeah. But I just had one more 12, and I think it was Aaron was in second that day.
And then the second day, same mindset, or did things change the second day? I believe the second day your course was a little harder.
I think the second day was, if I remember, there were some longer ones out there. But no, my game plan, I had a bunch of 8s the first day that kept me from having a higher score because I had 6 12s, so I had a good 12 count. But I think in the interview that I did, my game plan was the same. I just wanted to clean up my 8 count. And
gotcha.
I think I only had 1 8 the second day, just not as high of a 12 count that day.
So for you, were you expecting by the second tournament you'd make a shoot down?
Honestly, I was hoping so.
Okay.
My scores last year I always looked at my scores compared to the pro classes.
Yeah.
Just to see where it would have put me. And, it's 5 yards shorter, but, it's just one of those things. You just try to translate it. And most of my scores last year would have put me on the board.
Okay.
So I was really hoping to make it. I had put in a lot of work for it. So I had gone there really hoping to at least make it into the shoot down.
So you said It's only 5 yards, but that's an important 5 yards, 45 to 50.
Yeah, 45 to 50 is a big difference. Yeah.
Did you practice that for your judging, or, did you have things dialed in at 45 that you can now see, okay, I know that's more than 45?
Yeah. For me, it's the game that I play. I shoot all uppers now.
Okay.
So I kind of play I aim center. I don't really aim at 12s unless they're super short or unless I just know how far it is for some reason. So if I can get within 2 or 3 yards of a target, I can have a comfortable number that'll keep me a 10.
Okay.
My whole goal in my game is to just try to not lose any points and just gain when I can.
Gotcha.
So if I shoot a lot of targets, it's basically gap shooting.
Yeah.
I'll shoot it for 47.5 in the center, and if it's 45, then it rises. If it's 50, then it hits the bottom of the 10 ring.
Yeah. So we should mention, as we mentioned, elite shooter. One of the things that I always like to talk about is the equipment, especially for the women, because this year is the first year women's pro now went up to the 290 speed limit, 290 feet per second. It was 280. What is your setup? What poundage are you shooting? What bow are you shooting?
I shoot an elite verdict.
Okay.
I'm shooting about 63 pounds, I think.
Okay.
Shooting Ultra 25s.
Okay, big arrow.
Yeah, bigger arrow. I was going to shoot the 23. About 287, I believe.
Okay.
So I'm not quite to the 290 mark, but honestly, with the setup that I have and how forgiving and well it is, the speed isn't the most important thing for me.
Right.
I just want a setup that, is forgiving and I know can shoot good. So
what is your draw length?
27 and a quarter, I believe.
Okay. 27 and a quarter, and you're able to get 287. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
At 63 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So, but getting back to then that 45 to 50 yards, a 1 yard mistake there is a big drop or rise.
Yeah. So that's when you kind of got to be really smart with your numbers and where you're holding and all that stuff. I honestly do way better on the longer targets though.
Is that right?
If it's over 45 yards, I'm just well, there it is. It's the short ones that I'll lose my points on most likely.
Yeah. That's that. Well, I think it was in the women's known pro. Nobody hit the 14 on the closest target, but then they all hit it on the final one. So it's sometimes the distance isn't the problem.
Yeah, I know. Because I think it's because everybody practices long. You want to get better long, and then they throw them in your face, and you don't know what to do with them.
All right. So then going back to the shoot down. All right. So you learn that you're in the shoot down. There's about 2-3 hours in between the end of your round.
Yeah, we got done shooting around, I don't know, probably 11:30, because I know everybody was waiting on us to get on the range. And then we needed to be over at the shoot down place by 3:45 or 4, I believe.
So nerves, what's happening in that gap time there?
Honestly, I think I was too excited to be nervous. The first thing I did was call my mom. So mom and dad, I had actually gone to the tournament myself. They haven't came to a bunch of them. So I called mom, and they were both in the car, and I had an idea that they were on their way, but I didn't say anything. So I called them, and they were both in the car, and I was like, "What are y'all doing?" She was like, "Oh, we just stopped at the gas station." And I talked to one of my friends. I was like, "They're on their way. They're on their way here."
I read a post by your mom where she was saying, "Yep, she jumped in and she said it was 5 hours."
Yeah, it's about a 5.5 hour drive one way. So they drove about 12 hours just to watch me shoot for 30 minutes.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Got down there.
Yeah, they're great. They've never missed anything important in my life. So.
Yeah. And did they get there in time?
Yeah. Oh, when I pulled into the shoot down, we have a Jeep, and it's, one of the unique colors. And I was like, that is my Jeep. I was like, they're here. Yeah. So it was a pretty cool surprise to walk over there and just see them both there. But,
so go ahead.
So, I mean, the downtime, I mean, pretty much I just went and ate, and then we just, I went to the Alstrom's camper. We were hanging out there. It was me and Christine and Keith. We were all hanging out until it was time to go.
Yeah, the North Carolina ASA community, I've been surprised. You all know each other. Everybody knows, you know, it's
well,
just
we see each other about every weekend. There's only a couple places to shoot around here on the weekends, so everybody kind of travels to the same places on the weekends.
Gotcha. Okay. So then you get to the site, and then they line you up to come out there. Butterflies at all then? Still just honestly, excitement?
I think everything happened so fast. I don't think I had time to be nervous. Like standing there waiting for them to call my name, I was like, okay, this is happening. You know? But once you get out there, it's game time. You know, you set your sight and you just go. So
Darren Christianberry in the Shootdown always says this goes by so fast when you're out there that you don't even. And he's not kidding. Last year I held the umbrella for Cara a couple times. Okay. And so I had been out there, you know, in front of everybody before, but shooting it and doing that is completely different. Like it just goes so fast. Can you feel all the people around you, or are you too focused on what you're doing? I was so focused on making sure that my flag was up to call uppers and making sure I had set my sight and just making sure I was shooting the right target. So and how were your numbers in the shoot down for those targets? The first target that I shot, I knew that my numbers were good. Okay. So my first one hit exactly where I wanted it to. It was just, I think it was right. I had an 8. I had some left and right issues during the shoot off, but when that one hit, I was like, okay, our numbers are good. Like we're good. Yeah. So. It was windy. We were noticing, I think everybody was hitting left in that shoot down. That wind coming across there. And who was in the tournament? Who was shooting with you? Who was your umbrella person? My umbrella person was Logan Altizer. Oh, Logan. That's right. Yeah. Okay. So is he giving you advice or just saying, remember this? Yeah, so he had asked me before, he was like, so what do you want to do? Gotcha. And I was like, well, I would like to win, but I would also like to not go leave any less than I am. Like I'd like to be second or better kind of thing. Yeah. And I just told him let me know if Aaron gets close, like if Aaron gets on a roll and starts hitting some 14s, or if, whatever Sharon does, like if Sharon hits something crazy, just let me know that. I never looked at the scoreboard one time. He was the one telling me okay, you're good. Just make a good shot. Okay. Shoot to the 12 kind of thing. That's interesting. Yeah, we always wonder, are people looking to see where others are, but you just stayed. Never once did I look over there. Never once did I honestly hear Mike the whole time. I know Mike, that's his thing, is to always be the funny guy during the shoot off. I never heard what he said one time until I got to target 1 and he asked me if I was ready to shoot. But go ahead. I was dialed in. It was just focus and shoot the targets. And run through your targets, what you scored for me. I'm drawing a blank. So the first target that I shot was the big sheep. Yeah. I believe he was 42 yards, something like that. Yeah. And then, so I hit an 8 on that one, I believe, an 8 or a 10. Second target was the bedded buck. He was 45, 46. I was a 10 just to the right on that one. My third target was the black boar. He was kind of closer. He was 30, 32, 33. I ended up 12 in that one. The fourth target was the hyena. He was long. I think he was 49 or 50. I was a solid 10 on that one. And then my last target was the javelina. Okay. And he was 35 yards, I think, and I ended up 12 in him. Gotcha. So you come down to it after you shoot your 5 targets. So going to the 6, it's just you and Sharon. Yeah, it was just me and Sharon. It. So going in, second place. I can do no worse. And that was exactly what me and Logan had talked about. It was look, I'm not getting out of here any less than second. So it was one of those just kind of go for it things. Yeah, that's the part I can't imagine. What's it like taking that 6th shot? The last one. Well, I mean, you could have missed and still been second. There was nothing could have really happened that would make me have a worse outcome than I was already there. Yeah. So
But it was one of those things, it all went so fast. I didn't have time to think of a game plan. It was I was just, okay, we're just going to shoot at it kind of thing. And then, because they give you a minute to judge. So me and Sharon walk up there, and then as soon as your minute's done, it's my turn to shoot.
Yeah, you're up first.
So I didn't have any time to talk to Logan about a game plan or anything. Actually, when he walked up ready to hold my umbrella, he said, just so you know, if you shoot a 12, she has to shoot a 12, because I had her by bonus rings.
Yeah.
And so you can see, I think on the broadcast, I was like, so what do I do? Because I had already, in my brain, I was just shooting at 14.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And looking back on it, if I would have hit a 10, I would have won the tournament. So it's one of those things you don't have time to think about it out there.
That's one of the things that I like about the open game, the unknown game, is because Sharon only needed an 8 to win.
Yep.
And so you just figured, she's going to hit center 10.
Exactly. And that's one of the, you don't bank on anybody who's pro to just, hit randomly shoot high or low or left or right. You're just thinking, okay, she's just going to go out there and shoot center 10 and win the thing. Right. So I have to go for it.
Yeah.
And it turns out I didn't have to do anything.
She came close. It was a high 8, I remember.
I think it was another yard, and because I remember she held for a really long time, and I had dropped my binoculars twice to see if she had let down.
Yeah.
And she was still at full draw. And when she hit, the crowd was kind of like, ooh.
Yes.
And I remember, that's the only time I looked at the scoreboard, because I was like,
what happened?
I was like, where does this put us? So she ended up still having me by 2. But like I said, if I would have hit 2 inches to the right, I would have won the tournament on bonus rings.
So you take second place in your first ever shoot down. I mean, that's got to be still a dream weekend there.
Oh my gosh, I was so happy. It was I couldn't have been happier.
When did your phone start blowing up?
Before I even walked out there, because my mom had posted on Facebook something about because Cam does the 10 target or the 5 target intervals. She had seen the 30 targets. That's when they got in the car and left. Because I was leading after 30, and so everybody had started seeing that post and started commenting on it, and then started commenting, sending me messages, and it's crazy. It did not take long at all.
So what's the reception been like since you took second place? You came home, family and friends are now all around. What's that like?
I mean, it's great. I mean, every local tournament I go to, people are congratulating me. People that I'm terrible with names too. I know you, but I don't know you on a personal level, but they're like, Lauren, you did so great. And I'm like, thank you. What's your name?
Don't you hate it?
It's terrible.
Don't
I
you hate it when they say your name and you can't remember theirs?
It makes me feel so bad. It makes me feel so bad. I'm so bad with names.
That's me, exactly.
Yeah, everybody has been so supportive. I honestly have one of the best support systems that you could ever dream of. Like I said, my parents have never missed anything important in my life, and all my friends and family were nothing but happy for me. So it was really great to kind of come home to that.
Is this like what you pictured when you went back and said, okay, I want to set up a bow after high school? Yeah. Is this is it? This is what you wanted to do?
So that day I told Mom, I was like, in 4 years, I'm going to shoot pro. I had a 4-year plan. I had planned on winning out of the hunter class. I'd planned on winning out of known 40, planned on winning out of open 45, straight into pro. And that's exactly how it went.
How about that? Yeah. So what does it take to do that? So somebody who's sitting at home saying, I want to do that. What was the behind the scenes stuff that we don't see? What was the work like to get there?
I mean, I shoot every day kind of thing. It depends on the weather. Right now we're having terrible winds and wind advisories left and right here. But so even if it's just shooting in the basement, just making sure your shot process is good. Yeah. But it takes a lot of time and effort, and I honestly couldn't do it without my mom or dad. My dad is my bow mechanic. He's the one that does like all of the stuff. We actually got done working on my bow yesterday before they headed out of town. It takes a village. At least for me, it does. But
do you shoot other disciplines, indoor, 50 meter, any
so
of that
I shoot
stuff?
Indoor.
Okay.
I shoot like Vegas faces. I shot indoor nationals last year. But yeah, I shoot indoor in the off season.
Okay. Gotcha. 3D. Yeah. You folks in a place like North Carolina, that the 3D culture seems to be more, deeper down there, I'll say.
Yeah. I'm a fair weather shooter. I like shooting when it's warm. So when it gets cold, I switch to indoor.
Gotcha. Okay. So then so in your first pro season, man, second tournament, you make the shoot down, finish second place. What does that do for your mentality now we're coming into Minden is the next event? Yes.
Honestly, I'm just super excited. Like I said, I try not to go in with any expectations. I just know like what I've been working on personally at home since Benning, and just plan to like go in with the same game plan and just hopefully have, 2 more good days out there.
If you are working on something, is it more shot related than judging?
It's, so it's more, I'm working on the game that I play. That's what it's just the game, the upper game,
Oh, gotcha.
Just making sure, because when I judge, so like in Open 45, I did not shoot the upper game. I shot all lowers, just kind of aiming at them.
Yeah.
But I've switched to the upper game. I switched right after Foley, actually. So Benning was my first tournament shooting uppers.
Okay. Did Keith Ahlstrom talk you into that?
No, actually it was Logan.
Okay.
But because we came home and my scores were just not where they were. It's just like, it just wasn't like me to shoot a lot down all the time.
Yeah.
I was just having random 8s, low, high, but numbers are usually not that difficult for me. I can usually get within a couple yards of a target.
Okay.
So I'm working on the judging and getting it down to like within a yard to make sure, just trying to get more uppers and stay safe 10s when I need to.
What is it like to be out there in, the finals are one thing, but in qualification, those are the long days, 4 hours. You got 2 days of that. What's that like being out there and you're shooting? Certainly on the second day, you're in the top peer group. So you're right there with the best of the best, names that you've known forever.
Yeah.
What's that like now?
Honestly, I was actually very surprised with how well I handled it, like mentally. Because I know like a lot of people struggle with the second day, especially if they do good on the first day. You'll see names drop off the board.
Right.
But my whole thing was I wasn't trying to really score any points. I was trying not to lose them.
Okay.
So like my whole idea is if I stay safe, other people are going to lose points.
Right.
So while I'm shooting 10s and somebody's shooting 8, I'm technically gaining 2 points on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things. I wanted to stay safe and catch the ones that I could, like any shorter ones. And I think all my 12s ended up being on like 49 or 50-yard targets on the second day.
Of course.
Yeah. It was just, it just works out that way sometimes.
Yeah. Do you have a least favorite target?
The Wolverine.
The Wolverine. Yeah.
Yep. Not my favorite target. I struggle judging on that one.
It's just, I can't get past the mentality of it just being a small target. But
it's just tiny.
Scoring ring's the same. Yeah, but when there's a big deer around it.
Yeah, exactly. You look at the mule deer and then you look at the Wolverine, like, I just don't like it.
You do own that target.
Yeah, he's in my backyard right now.
And is that one, see, I have the Coyote. I don't have the Wolverine, but the Coyote is my small target. And I always find myself, I don't really want to shoot that one. I'd rather shoot the wolf.
I'll shoot something else. Yeah. Yeah. I just switched the core on that one the other day. And I just don't like that target. I don't like the colors. When I draw back, like, it has the color line in the center 10.
Right.
I can't see it when I draw back. I just don't love that target. It's one of my targets. I'll tin it and walk off really happy.
Yep. Say good enough. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Well, let's go back to signing with Elite. Were you sponsored last year when you were shooting Open 45?
So I was on the dealer advisory staff for Elite last year.
For Elite, okay.
Yep. And shot there. I shot the Verdict last year as well. And in Coleman, after the shoot, I had won shooter of the year and I placed second at the tournament itself. Yeah. I got a call from a random number and I was like, I don't know who this is. I was actually at dinner and it was Darren and he was like, hey, I'm sure, you've gotten phone calls or messages or whatever. But don't talk to anybody. That's what he said. He said, don't talk to anybody until I have the chance to talk to you. Yeah. And I was like, okay, yes, sir.
He told me about that. He said after Coleman, he was like, I got to get her on the team.
Yeah.
So what is that like? Here you are, 21 at the time you would have been. And there's Darren Christenberry. You know who he is, calling you up, wanting to sign you to be on the Elite team as a pro.
Yeah, it was one of those things felt like a surreal moment again. It was what I dreamed of doing.
Yeah.
It was a part of my 4-year plan. I knew I had wanted to shoot for them. I had shot their bow for 2 years now.
Right.
My mom had shot for them when she shot pro for a little while. So I've known Darren for years and all the people, Keith, Steven, Logan, all of them. We're just all really good friends. So it was just a really good place where I fit in.
We can say it here. That's good. That's one of the best teams out there.
Yeah. They're the most supportive people you'll ever meet. They'll do anything for you. They want to see you succeed, more than themselves half the time.
What was it in Foley when Steven Altizer made his first shoot down as senior pro? We had that video.
Yep.
And
Darren. I was standing right there. I was standing there with Logan, and I was like, I'm gonna cry. It's just everybody just loves each other so much. It's you feel so welcome there.
Darren said he had so many calls after that. He was like, hey, I wish my team did that. Everybody was there for Steven.
Yeah, it stands out. Compared to other places. It's more like a family than a business.
That seems to be Jennifer Brooks, Nathan Brooks, all of them. That seems to be. And I mean, the equipment's obviously top shelf. It's good equipment too.
Yeah.
All right. So what are things are going the way you had wanted them to. What's your other goals? What do you got now? Obviously a win. I would guess.
I would love to end up on the top of the podium. If not once, more than once,
Yeah.
I just want to keep progressing in my game, try to perfect it the best I can just to where it's more consistent with numbers and everything. But yeah, I do want to, I plan on making it to a couple more shoot-offs throughout the year. So.
Okay. And then any bigger goals beyond what long-term goals?
Honestly, I'm not really. I just kind of go with the flow. I don't plan on stopping to shoot anytime soon. You know what I mean? So I think it's just kind of as the years go on, whatever happens, happens. There's some big talk about the Olympics now.
Yes.
Because compound is in the Olympics.
Uh-huh.
My mom saw that and she sent it to me. She's like, are you going to do this? And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know about that. But she wants me to try out for the world team as well. So, I mean, there's always some other options to go to. That's a totally different branch of archery.
Kaylee did it, Yeah. She did that circuit for a while. Paige obviously still does it. But
so I think it would be fun.
Does that, I was going to say, does that change anything for you with all of a sudden it's now Olympics where before that was never a consideration?
Yeah.
For someone in your shoes, does that make you think, maybe?
I mean, I would like to try it. If the opportunity arose, I'm not going to say no. But it's one of those things. 3D is always where my heart's going to be.
Right.
It's always probably where my priority is going to be. But I'm not going to say no to something else. I'm up to try anything once.
Have you ever shot a 50-meter round?
Never.
No. Okay.
No.
Hey, it's a big yellow ring. You can see it. You know exactly how far it is.
It's just like Vegas, just way farther, you know?
Yeah. How about, for you, what is archery in terms of how it fits into your life? Is it a huge part? Is it the main part? Is it, what other things do you do besides archery, I guess is the question.
During this time of year, it's pretty much all I do. Like, okay. I work, I come home, I shoot every weekend somewhere.
Okay.
It's great having a family that understands like the time and effort that it takes to be at the pro level.
Right.
Just because my mom has been there. My friends at home, they probably think I'm crazy because I'm never home on the weekends. I pretty much just live here during the week, and on the weekends I'm gone off somewhere. They're always like, "Are you ever home?" I'm like, "No, not really." During the summertime, like I'm just not home.
Yeah. Yes.
So it controls a lot of time of my life.
So, yeah, interesting. Younger person in your early 20s, summertime, you're out there shooting a bow, which, are you in rural North Carolina? Maybe it's not as strange.
I'm in the mountains.
Okay.
So, a lot of people, like a lot of my family, they have bows and everything. They just don't shoot it on the tournament level.
Yeah.
But we're the house, like any of our friends that need bow work, they come here kind of thing. My dad is the one, they're like, yeah, bring it over. We're already working on Lauren stuff. So it's one of those things. But it's fun trying to juggle that and like a social life, like hanging out with friends, going to the lake. Cause we have a house on Lake Douglas in Tennessee. So we spend a lot of time in the summer there.
You can just take your targets there.
I do.
Practice at the lake house.
I sure do. There's a tournament that's about 45 minutes from that house. So like if there's a shoot there, I'll be there on the weekends. I'll go shoot Saturday morning and spend the rest of the weekend at the lake.
Gotcha. Yeah. Is it just you and your family? Do you have any siblings?
Just me.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. I'm the only one.
And your mom, what's her first name again?
Michelle.
Okay. I do remember seeing her name in ASA. How long ago was she shooting in the pro class?
It was when I was in high school. So when I was off, she was shooting pro.
I thought I remembered her name.
She made it to a couple shoot downs. She was on the board a bunch.
Gotcha.
She actually had 2 elbow injuries. She had elbow surgery on both of her elbows. So it put her off for a couple years. And then she switched careers, so it keeps her really busy. So she doesn't have as much time as she used to.
Gotcha.
Doing that.
Any thoughts to having her in your, I guess it's coach's box is the term I'm using, but.
Well, I had told her, like I said, I didn't know for sure they were coming to Benning, but I had a pretty good idea that they would show up.
Right.
But it was one of those things I told her. I was like, you need to sit where I can see you. Because if I need to turn around and like know what I need to do.
Yes.
Then, because the shoot down kind of takes a village too. You have your umbrella holder who's keeping your score. You have somebody else trying to look out for you. It's one of those things. But yeah, she's always in my corner.
So Braden Jones, one open pro, his dad, I see his dad with him all the time, and he finally showed up after the shoot down was over. And I said to him, "Hey, where have you been? I've been looking all over for you." And he said, I was back there pacing, trying not to throw up or something like that.
Yeah, that's what somebody had commented on my mom, or I think it was Jack Wallace actually, because Jack is pretty good friends with Mom, and he commented on her Facebook post and was like, "I'm pretty sure you were more nervous than Lauren was," and she said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was."
So, being in that shoot down now, was there anything in there that now you like maybe you didn't expect that you're like, okay, for the next time now I know this? Were there any lessons in there that you learned?
Honestly, everybody tells you it goes really fast, and you're like, yeah, like it goes really fast. So now I know like what I need to spend my time on. Because you have the 10-minute judging period before you go shoot. So I had really I think I stayed out there for the whole 10 minutes. I was trying to make sure my numbers were really, really good because I had. For sure. I got 2 separate numbers, in case I needed to shoot a 14 or anything. Gotcha. I have how far I think the target is, and then how far I need to shoot the target for to hit a 12.
Okay.
Like
Gotcha.
because I am center. So, you have like a little pad on your other number. But trying to figure that out, just trusting my numbers. I'm really bad to second guess myself the longer I look at a target. So.
And so now this is your first experience in the shoot down. Was it as different? Benning is not as bad because there are trees around. It wasn't necessarily the flat open field of like London.
Yeah.
But did you find it to be different than trying to judge in the woods?
It is very different, but the way that I have my target set up at my house, a lot of my targets are in the wide open.
Okay.
So I've been kind of used to, and I knew that was going to be beneficial because, most of the shoot-offs are in event centers or in open fields. Yeah. So you need to be able to at least have a close guess of how far those are, as well as your qualification round, which is in the woods.
Right.
So it's good to be able to judge both of those. So I have targets set up for both scenarios. So that did help me a lot.
Okay. All right. So now Minden coming up here, when will you go in for that? And what's your pre-tournament prep going to be on site? What kind of
Minden
things?
Is a 13-hour drive for me.
Okay.
I will be leaving pretty early Wednesday morning, I'd say. That's what I did last year. You spend your whole day drive. I left at 4 o'clock Wednesday morning. You get down there at 5 or 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Honestly, I think last year I checked into my hotel and took a shower and went to bed. It was after 13 hours in a car, it's not really much you want to do.
Yeah.
But most of the time I spend Thursday on the practice range. Sometimes I'll shoot the Sims or the Elite Gnome.
Yep.
Shoot that. But it's just a practice day just to make sure that my stuff's on.
You do the team shoot?
I do sometimes. I haven't done it this year. I did it last year. I think last year was my first time doing it.
Gotcha.
But I haven't this year.
Now they're going to be asking for you. You make the shoot down. People know who you are. They have the all women's area for the open.
I shot in the first women's one that they did last year.
Okay, yeah.
So it was fun.
And are you ready to be down there and have all those ASA people come up? Hey, Lauren, good to see you, Lauren. And you're not going to know any of their names.
I know. And I feel so bad. If anybody's watching this that knows me, I'm so sorry. I suck with names. I can see your face 100 times and know who you are. But you can be like my mom's best friend. And I'm like, I don't really remember your name.
The worst one is when I think I know it. And so I make a stab at it and it's wrong.
And it's wrong. Yeah.
Darren Collins. I've known him for years. For some reason at the last tournament, I was calling him Alan, who is a shooter who no longer shoots. So, yeah.
It's one of those things. I'm like, hey, buddy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I try so hard, but I am so bad with names.
Well, Lauren, we should run through then for your sponsors. Who are you? Everything TOG, CBE, Scott.
I shoot CBE. I shoot a B3 release.
Okay, gotcha.
I shoot Ultra Arrows. Obviously an Elite Bow. Conquest bars.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm not with any binocular company or anything like that.
Right,
I shoot Boeing vanes. That's pretty much it.
B3 Archery, good people over there.
Yeah. I bought a Ghost. I shoot the Ghost. I bought it 2 years ago in Foley, and I've shot it ever since.
All right. Well, Lauren Carver, first, congratulations on a great start to your rookie season there. Second place finish in Benning. We wish you the best of luck, but congratulations on that. And thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks, Competition Archery Media Podcast. You can find it on all the platforms, wherever you find your favorite podcast. Thanks for joining us today.